Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I'm Elisa. It's actually, right now when I'm doing this reading, it's the 1111 portal, which I just did a reading about, but there's obviously some big changes afoot. I mean, evidence exhibit A is the US elections, which have been super dramatic. And yeah, I mean, it would be funny if it wasn't so serious, I suppose, but the sociology of the situation is, interesting to watch because, I mean, obviously a person has to have a pretty strong sense of themselves to even become the president, but it's just, we're in some uncharted territories at the moment, so it's pretty wild. Anyways, I'm going to start with the Urban Tarot, which is a deck that I gave away last month. I kind of stopped doing the giveaways because pretty much almost everyone who had entered had already won, and I'm trying to get back to work. I was sort of doing this for fun while I was on hiatus with this like family emergency, and I'm trying to get back to work now, so I'm still gonna do this. Like, I'm not sure how regularly I'll do it. I mean, I love doing the tarot and it's fun, and maybe one day I'll do the giveaways again, but right now, I mean, it is a lot of extra work and all that. So anyways, I'm pulling some cards from the Urban Tarot, which is my newest deck, and I really love this deck a lot. So yeah, I'm going to start with that, and then we'll go from there. Oh my gosh. Okay. So some big changes afoot. We've got the Fool at the bottom of the deck. There was a reading where this came up recently where I was talking about man on... I think this came up in a reading called Purple Velvet Suit, so that might be a relevant reading to this. But this is like taking a leap of faith into this new unknown, So, I mean, I think that's pretty appropriate for the 1111 portal. Like, it's all about ascension and like stepping into this sort of new stage of life, which that's happening. So, the cards we got the Eon, which is kind of like the Judgment in the regular card. We got Justice. We got the Empress. We got Fortitude. And we got Strength. There's some other cards, but I'm just going to start with the top row first, just to not be super complicated. But so this is a card of Karmic Reckoning. This card came out a bunch around the time of the Libra new moon, like in 4 readings in a row. But it's a card of like reckoning and judgment and like karma happening, which I think is really appropriate for this like 1111 portal. There's been all these messages coming through for the last month because there's been obviously this big flux and this big transition, but like with these sort of like opposing viewpoints that were being juggled, and like having to move forward with one of them. Like, I feel like this is very appropriate to like the election is a really good analogy. Like, there's these 2 political viewpoints, and one has like sort of like been selected as the winner of the election. So we're gonna have to like start moving forward under this new paradigm. But like right now, we're still working on the acceptance of what the new way forward is. But the next card we have is Justice. So that's really appropriate. Like, there's been this karmic reckoning, that there's like a just outcome. And then, it's interesting in this card, like he's holding this sword, this one sword of truth, so like we're moving forward in alignment with the truth. Karma is sort of being doled out, like you know, accordingly. And then we have the Empress. So, you know, in the traditional deck, this is like the birth of a new, it's like the birth of a new idea or a new person, you know, a new way of being, you know. So we're stepping into this new era, but like we have followed by fortitude and strength right after that, which is really interesting because this is like the wounded warrior card in the traditional deck, you know. So it's someone who's been like beaten, bruised, like they're battle weary, but they're not going to give up, you know. They're going to keep going. And then we have strength, you know. So it's just like this new era is coming into being, but we're going to have to fight for it. Like, that's pretty clear, you know. We're going to have to fight for justice, you know. But karma is happening. And it's interesting because the overall reading for the month of November was about breaking free from oppression. And it was talking about having to break through this oppressive situation, but it was going to be difficult. Like, it wasn't going to be easy, you know. And it's interesting because this Empress falls right above the card of oppression, you know, the Ten of Wands. So it's like we're trying to break through that, you know. So on the bottom row we have failure, we have satiety, we have oppression, we have gain, and we have the Star. So this is really interesting because the first two cards, I think we have like the opposing viewpoints. Like, there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. Like, we have failure, some, you know, the five of Pentacles is a card of lack, and then we have satiety, which is like fulfillment, like emotional fulfillment. So, you know, and this falls right under the Justice card. So it's just like there's this karmic reckoning and someone's gonna lose out, you know, but then there's also like gonna be happiness and justice that's happening, you know, once we can like break through this oppression, you know. And then that comes out to like gain and Star, which is a card of wishes coming true and healing, you know. But in order to get through that, it looks like we're for sure gonna have to fight for it, and we're gonna have to stand our ground. Like, it doesn't look like it's gonna be an easy transition at all. Okay, I'm gonna go to Mystical Shaman and pick a few cards, but I'm gonna stop it for the shuffling, so you have to sit through that. Okay, so this is really interesting. So the message is, I got at the bottom the owl. So this is a card of wisdom. It's a card of having your ancestors being present, you know, and kind of sending messages through signs and synchronicities. To me, this is also super meaningful because, you know, the owl's obviously a bird, and my father was a pilot, so I feel like since he's passed away, you know, he passed away pretty recently, I've been getting messages from him, from like birds, and also from like, you know, helicopters and planes, because he was a pilot, you know. So anyways, this card signifies getting messages from your ancestors. And then we also have the ancient one, which is a card of your ancestors. So clearly there is some presence and some guidance that's coming through from that realm to help guide with guidance through this transition, because this looks to be a really difficult transition. We have the medicine wheel next, which this speaks to when you're kind of at a turning point and needing to move forward. This is like a process of evaluation that you go through to kind of like bring yourself into alignment with how you want your life to go forward, you know. So you have to kind of do this process of alignment with, like, you know, what situations and people are not in alignment with how you want to move forward with your life, because you're going to have to do this honest evaluation about what those things are and release them so that you can move forward in alignment with your true desires, you know. And then we have the Sun, which this is a card of like really just showing up, you know, and being seen, and like allowing the sun to shine down on you. Like, it's not a time to like cower away in the corner. Like, this is a moment to like show up and be counted, you know. And then we have the Seer. So this is a card of like following your mind's eye or your intuition and following that guidance. So like, you're getting this guidance from your ancestors. They're watching over you and helping you through this. So, you know, stay open to that, but also spend some time internally, you know, evaluating with yourself and being honest with yourself about how you want your life to move forward from this moment, you know. And you're going to have to show up and be counted, because this is a really important moment. So I'm going to go to the Radiant Wise Spirit and pull some more cards, because this is just like, see if we can get some overall guidance, because this is obviously going to be a difficult moment, but we're breaking through some like things that have been holding us back for some time, you know, for sure. Okay, I'm going to pick one more card. The 1111 portal is all about kind of like ascending to the next level of life. So like, it's a card of like learning lessons and sort of like graduating from like repeating cycles maybe that have happened. Like you come into some awareness that allows you to like step up, you know. So we have the Hermit, we have the Six of Wands, we have the Emperor, and we have the Six of Swords. So this is really interesting, because this speaks to like a spiritual quest, you know. It speaks to this process of kind of being honest with yourself about like what you want to be. Like, this can also signify a Virgo sign, but this is kind of just like drawing inward and like, you know, just like really being honest with yourself about like following this intuition and this guidance towards the future, you know. And this person who's done this work is going to rise above this circumstance. They're going to be victorious, and they're going to step into their power, become empowered. This is the card of the Emperor, you know. And this is really interesting, because there's been this storyline that's been happening on the channel forever since it started about this King of Pentacles who's like been needing to learn this spiritual lesson, and that doing so was going to unlock his power, and he was going to ascend into this Emperor. So it went from the Phoenix, which is like this King of Pentacles who was sort of downtrodden and rising through the ashes of this transformation, into this Emperor, which it became a dynasty thread, because he stepped into all this generational abundance, you know. So it's just like, whoever this person is moving on from a bad situation to a better situation. So this really speaks to the 1111 portal story, you know, like overcoming some sort of oppressive situation by doing all this internal work and like empowering oneself to like show up, be counted, and step into their power, you know. And then righting some sort of wrong or some unjust situation that's been holding them back for a while, you know. So it's like the classic story of the underdog, you know, rising to the occasion. But it's not easy, you know. I mean, this is playing out in our daily life, all of us, you know. I'm going to go to the Starseed Oracle to pick some final messages. But yeah, this is a really climactic month that's happening. And some big climactic changes. Okay, so the cards that came out, it's actually a really positive message. This one on the bottom says, you're not for everyone. Embrace your weirdness. Face your true north. Which is interesting because that's kind of what this card is about. It's about coming into alignment with your true north and sort of like stripping things that are blocking you from that, you know, liberating yourself from oppression, which is really kind of what this reading is all about. Like, embrace that. You have something special to offer the world, so don't apologize for it, you know. Surrender to the sweetness. Venus energy, pleasure, joy, make love to life. It's a moment to show up, stand in the sun and be you. Like, take that moment. And then we have jump in, Andromedan energy, adventure, say yes to change. Embrace the change. Even if there's resistance and, you know, maybe not everyone's going to get it, that's okay. You are empowered. Step into your power. Embrace your weirdness. Double mission, light worker, starseed, serve the world by being you. So the message is clear. Like, don't hold yourself back just because there's obstacles. Keep pushing it forward. You've got to push through this resistance. You have something important to offer the world, and this is your moment. So take it, jump in, and we'll see you next time.